Hi, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It is still August and still my Women's Month theme, where I am devoting myself to equipping, encouraging, and inspiring my sisters. And so, if you're a gent, you can click past this episode. However, if you are curious to delve a little bit deeper into the inner workings of the minds of those women that you're surrounded by, stay tuned, get out a pencil and a notepad because this is going to be very educational. So, I want to talk about friendships, female friendships today. And the reason I was prompted to start this conversation and to just share what's been on my heart and what I've observed over the last couple of weeks is that I've been spending time pouring into the lives of few people that I love, respect, and appreciate. And all these individuals, these women, are separate of each other. Yet I have seen a bit of a narrative reveal itself. And what that is that women right now, for the large part at least, seem to be struggling with finding safety, security, and meaning in their friendships with other women. So this is friendships and relationships that we have as women with other women. And so I really want to share some of the strategies that have helped me deal with the complexity of friendship. Before I get into all of that, though, I want to preface this entire episode by saying that I am a firm believer in the life-giving, joy-bringing, overwhelming love that we experience when we are in powerful relationships with other women. There is nothing, and I'm sure that the same applies for men when they have like a proper guy friend. When we as women are surrounded, when we have an inner circle that we can be our worst with and be our best with, guys, that is something, I've actually got goosebumps, man. That is something that is so powerful and so worth contending for. I think a lot of women have grown up being programmed to tear each other down, to be catty, to be jealous, to gossip, to just try and rip crowns off heads, right? And that doesn't serve us at all. And it does not bring life. And actually, that is the quickest strategy to isolation. And so, like I said, I've been speaking to these incredible human beings, and the golden thread seems to be that women are walking with a deep sense of rejection in friendships, feeling isolated, not feeling like they belong. And like, I get it. I was there for a very, very long time. There are a couple of things that have helped me right size certain relationships. And this is not going to be easy to apply. I've had these conversations with friends over and over and over again. And remember, this is just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy, okay? And the first thing that the first revelation that Jesus dropped into my spirit about friendships was not hugging a cactus, essentially. I don't know, I'm going to get there. But so what that means is that we don't think that acquaintances are inner circle friends. And then if we treat acquaintances like inner circle friends, but we're surprised because we are not received in the way that we would receive an inner circle friend, that to me is like hugging a cactus. You're hugging a cactus and you're surprised that you're in pain and that you're getting poked. But you're hugging a cactus. You are treating people that are not supposed to be inner circle humans like they are your inner circle. And then you are surprised because it's not reciprocated, or because the level of investment that you perhaps expected has been unrequited or unmet, not unrequited, unmet. Or that you were vulnerable with someone that shouldn't be in a circle, and now everybody has seen your vulnerabilities. Guys, this is the principle of the 4, the 12, and the 72. When Jesus went into the 3, when Jesus went into the Garden of Gethsemane, he asked 3 people to come into the garden with him, right? When he did life and he was creating like his legacy through his disciples, he had 12. And then there was a large part of people, like a large group that followed him around and, you know, watched his sermons and his miracles and helped spread the gospel that way. But they were the 72. And so when I view, it's the 3, the 12, I want to say the 3, the 3, the 12, and the 72. When you view your friendships through that framework, you've got to be very, very, very selective around who you bring into your garden, into your inner circle, who the people are that are supposed to be strong when you're weak. You're supposed to be strong when they're weak. Celebrate authentically and without any reservation, celebrate each other's wins. And I think what happens is, especially as women, we fall into relationships with friendships. Like we become friends with the moms of the friends of our kids. So inarticulate, but you guys get it, right? We become friends with other moms. We become friends with people we work with. We become friends with our partners' wives, right? And I want to hold up a mirror for a minute, guys. And I just want to say that if Jesus was selective about who he chose to take into the garden in his most vulnerable moments, I think that there is merit in us as women being very selective around who we take into our garden and who we choose to do life with. And I want to say this, that it's really hard to decide who your inner circle is if you've never sat down and reflectively decided what your standards and what your values are and what it is you're actually looking for out of a friend. There is power in making the unknown and the vague crystal clear. Because so I personally did this exercise. I wrote down, like, what do I want from a friend? I want someone who loves like I do. I am a Labrador, guys. I am mushy. I love hard. I'm one of those people, I will phone you 10 times a day to make sure you're okay, remind you that you have to drop your kid off at that's just the friend that I am. And I don't want to love less. And so I don't want to be in a friendship where I have to be less. Did you know what I mean? So for me, I need someone who is okay with my exuberance and who can at times reciprocate, return the love to sender. Right? So that's number 1. Number 2, this person has to be a Christian. I cannot afford for my inner circle to not be grounded in the word of God, because when I am vulnerable, the word that they need to come with is not their own. It is his word that they need to speak into my life. And similarly, the only help that I have is so deeply founded in Jesus and his revelation in my life and his word, that if I'm friends with someone who perhaps, if my inner circle, right? Not talking about the 12 now. I'm talking about the 3 in the garden. If they aren't Christian, they're going to find it incredibly hard to deal with the amount of Jesus I bring. So that's just, she's got to be a woman of faith. Then because I am a mom, it is super important that the person who I choose to be inner circle friends with, that their kids actually straighten my daughter's crown, that they are encouragers. This is something I teach Lily. You encourage. You need to leave the lives of people you surround yourself with better. It is a non-negotiable. If your friends win and you don't, you celebrate them as if it's your win, right? Because that's that is the expectation, and that is who the human I want her to be. So I will not surround her with people that do not share that value. If their children break her down or try and take her crown off, or don't share those similar values, it's a non-starter for me, because I do life with my child, and that is what it is, right? I'm not the mom that's going to leave her at home every time we have to have a coffee. It's just not going to happen. So these are expectations. They're absolute standards and expectations, and I deserve to have those standards, those boundaries, and those expectations. And so does Lily, to have those for me. I need friends that are spontaneous, that want to go on hikes or hot air balloon rides, or take a random 5 o'clock walk on the beach on a Wednesday to go and watch the sunset or whatever. Not that the sun sets over the ocean here, but you get the point. So I had to sit down and codify for myself, what am I looking for from a friend? And am I the Jackie that is me? Am I worthy of that person in my current makeup? Am I worthy? And if you do this and you realize you're not worthy of that kind of friend, you have some work to do to become worthy of that kind of friendship. Like loyalty. Are you someone who can be trusted with someone's vulnerability? Or do you haphazardly go and drop little bullets and bombs everywhere else? Can you be trusted? Can you hold someone's confidence honestly without letting anybody know that there's something to know? If you have work to do, do the work to become worthy of that kind of friendship. But at the same time, do not allow people in your inner circle that do not meet those standards. People who say, oh, I've got lots of friends. That's just low standards. So be very careful who you choose to bring into your inner circle, because those people speak into your lives. You become who you surround yourself with. Your children don't always listen to what you say and what you do. They look at the behavior of the people you surround yourself with. You must know that the people that you do life with are making deposits into the spirits of your children. So you've got to contend for this, ladies. It's not something that you can't compromise on this, right? And don't go like, well, it feels like a lot of work, I'm not going to have friends then. That's also just unhelpful, because Jesus created us to be in community with each other. And even he took 3 with him into the garden when he still knew that they were weak and vulnerable and were going to fall asleep. But he took them into the garden. Those were his 3. And then when you realize, when you've gone through this exercise and you've kind of washed all of the names of the people you thought were friends through these new filters and these updated clean lenses, you can order the people in your lives. Who are my 3 that I'm going to phone at 3 o'clock in the morning when I've told a bold-faced lie and I have made the biggest mistake, or I've compromised on my integrity? Who are the 3 I can phone that'll pray with me? Who are the 3 that I know that even in my ugliest moment will never leave me or forsake me? Who are those 3 for you? Then you have the 12. These are the people on not necessarily the massive outliers, the massive periphery. We do a lot of life with them, but we don't share the vulnerable stuff. And 9 times out of 10, we don't even share the great stuff, because jealousy is a real thing, right? We know this. So we know who is going to celebrate with us as if they had the win for themselves, and who is going to cry for us as if they'd experienced the loss for themselves. It's not necessarily the 12, but we spend a lot more time with the 12 too. So and then the 72 is, you fill in the gap. So I think that was the most helpful framework for me. About 16 months ago, guys, I went through this process of just like having a come to Jesus moment and an arbitrated confrontation with the self. And I had to order the relationships, because I was experiencing a lot of hurt and rejection. And when I looked at it, I was like, yeah, because I've put people in the wrong category, and it's not fair to them, and it's not fair to me, and it's not fair to my daughter. So do that work first to start with. Then the other thing that I really want to say, ladies, just stop. We are not responsible for other people's experience of life. Can you put the cross down, for goodness sake? Jesus tells you to carry your own cross, not everyone else's, okay? Women have a propensity, some women have unhealthy, unintegrated women. I don't want to say all women. We've all got our stuff. Trust me, I have a therapist because I have stuff. Anyway, So scrolling. A friend actually said it's not squirrel in South Africa, it's warthog. So warthog there. We are not responsible for the experience that other people have in life. We all choose our response. We choose how we engage in life with anyone, whether they are the 3, the 12, or the 72. We have a responsibility to choose how we respond. If someone does not like your boundaries or your standards, or are behaving in a way that doesn't sit well with you, you have the absolute right to create space between you and said person. And if said person doesn't like that, that is their journey. That is their experience of life. You have no business taking on responsibility for someone else's experience of life. Can you please walk in freedom and just let that go? That doesn't give us license to be mean, unkind, cold woman, because that's not what straightening crowns is about, right? But we have got to stop picking up other people's crosses and making them our own, because it's the fastest way to start losing a little bit of yourself. It is okay to vote for you and vote for the sacredness of your friendships and your inner circle status with no's and boundaries and standards, guys. It's so okay to do that, right? And so just the last thing I want to say, people have the ability to speak things over us and just put labels on us, right? You have a right, my beautiful sister, to refuse the label. You have a right. Okay. If you are called a perfectionist, if you are called an overachiever, if you are called lazy, if you are called, I don't know, a martyr, whatever labels people try and throw at you, you have the right and you have the authority to go, I'm so sorry, that is not for me. That's not for me. You do not have to accept the labels. I was labeled a loner. Like a loner? No, I am selective. I am selective because I know how I love and I know what people get when they get me. That is something worth being selective around. And so I just want to encourage you to be conscious enough to catch those labels and to take authority over those labels and be like, no, I'm so sorry, but I'm not XYZ. I am who I was called to be. And I'm okay with that. And then watch what you say about yourself as well, because the language that you speak over yourself all the time, I'm a people pleaser, or I'm not a great mom, because like, please guys, just watch your language, mind your language as much as you mind your inner circle. And then, I just want to circle back to the beginning. Become the person who is worthy of the friendships that you so desperately desire. And it's okay to desperately desire them, because that's how we were built, okay? But we have to become worthy of those friendships so that when we have them, we can treat them as sacred friendships and anointed friendships, and we can honor them in the way that we're supposed to honor them. We are all fallen. We all have so many blind spots and mistakes. You want to surround yourself with people that love you enough to tell you where your blind spots are and when you're making a mistake, and straighten your crown for you, and then have your back when you're building and celebrating, and, deposit the right kind of thing into your kids. Having those friendships is worth fighting for, and contending to become the kind of woman that deserves those friendships is something to contend for too. And this whole thing about, it is okay to bare your soul to a friend when you're struggling with a relationship with people, with women, with whatever. It is not okay to run a woman down in a group setting. It is not okay. That is unacceptable behavior. It's like the gossip is, I was on the receiving end of gossip for a very long time. I know how much that stuff can hurt. and how devastating it is. And guys, it is just not something we should ever tolerate. It's unacceptable. We're older, we're wiser. Let's teach our daughters the way to do things, right? Like, let's just contend for that stuff. So I'm going to land the plane. Write down what friendship looks like for you. What are the values that you value? What are the behaviors? What are your standards? Articulate that. Know that you're going to take a list of a whole bunch of humans that you've done life with, and you're going to categorize them into the 3, the 12, and the 72. And if you have 5 3s, Jesus has blessed you. If you only have 1 3, Jesus has blessed you. It's not volume. Okay, it's quality here. And then when things arise in life, you won't be surprised. You won't carry the rejection because people are right ordered in your life. Make sure that you take authority against labels that come your way and speak life over yourself and your friendships. And don't compromise on becoming the woman that deserves these kinds of friendships. It's so, so important, guys. And finally, if the people that are in your 12 or 72 are having meltdowns about things, you can hold space for them with love, but you are not responsible for their experience of life, and walk in freedom around that. I hope this has been a helpful episode. I know it's quite a sensitive one, and I know that this is deep, deep, deep stuff, guys. But it's the work that matters the most, because I cannot tell you how uncolored my life would be if I didn't have the woman that I get to call my inner circle. I don't know where I would have been without their prayers, without their encouragement, without their love, without their correction. And that's never fun. But I don't know what kind of person I would be without having my inner circle. And so it's something worth contending for. And you don't have to stay in the rejection. You don't have to stay in isolation. You just have to put things in order. Okay. Love you madly. Till next week. Bye.